Well, Xtreme FM had its first broadcast in November, December 1999, but the concept itself started a fair bit before that. Craigavon District Youth Council I used to work with at the time, and we decided we needed a project that would capture the imagination of young people in the Craigavon area. And Northern Ireland then was a very different place. We had just emerged from the conflict. The Good Friday Agreement was really in its very early stages. And at that time there was a need for a project that had a cross-community aspect, but also had a personal development aspect for the young people that would be involved.
It was an idea that came from the Youth Council as it was, so we were a small group of people, young people at the time from the Craigavon area, and we wanted to do something new and innovative to try and regenerate what the Youth Council was, but also to try and, I guess, do something different in the area for young people. So we came up with the idea of running this radio station based in Brownlow. We were going to operate for 3 hours a day, probably at youth club time. It just grew from there. We had came across Kevin Murphy at the time, who was a guy that worked with us and worked on the ideas.
I was contacted by a committee from Brownlow Resource Centre and asked if I would help them set up a community radio station. So I suppose my role was initially training people and then setting up the studio and all the technical bits and pieces, applying for the licence, etc. Xtreme FM is a radio station licensed under a restricted service licence issued by the Radio Authority, and it's a radio station run mainly by young people. Only very few adults are involved, so it's young people who get to take to the airwaves, play their music and have their own chat. I mean, I remember the first night that I arrived down there with maybe 35 young people in a room, and I was full of trepidation because I didn't know how this was going to work. I'd worked on a few radio stations in Belfast. Most of the people who'd been on those stations had actually done some radio previously. So here I was faced with a group of people, 30 young people, who'd maybe never worked desks, worked CD players, on air, talked into microphones. So I was rather concerned. But by the end of that first night, the buzz around Brownlow Resource Centre was fantastic. And I couldn't wait for the next training session to get back down there because the kids were full of enthusiasm. So that was the great thing about Xtreme FM. When we finally went on air, it was just fantastic. It blew my mind how good all the people were. It was fantastic.
Xtreme was always the biggest event of the year whenever I was a youth worker in Craigavon and Brownlow. It was always the thing that you looked forward to doing and being with the young people, and the young people were learning so much, and every year there was something different that you added to it, and then you were working with amazing people. It was brilliant, and the kids just came in and they were so enthusiastic. Just one of those projects that you had to beat the kids away from the door. There's no big hassle in recruiting young people. You just said Xtreme and they all bounced in. So yeah, it was one of those things that it was almost like it's God's gift to youth work, if you like.
There's the interviews, the young people have an interview, and it's more really to get to know the young people and see why they're passionate about taking part in such a project. Then they do the weekly sessions every Wednesday night for about 3 months, and they do a bit of cross-community training, a bit of broadcast training. There's 2 residentials. The first residential will be more the cross-community residential, then they would have the broadcast where they set up and have a go at the stuff. And when they choose who they're going to do a show with, they get their theme of their show, they do everything else, radio wheels, broadcast training, the whole law about it, and then they go on. And the carrot on the end of the stick as such in youth work is the broadcast for 3 weeks, and you can't get young people out of the centre whenever it's on.
The current format of Xtreme is so dynamic. Online there's so much happening. There's Facebook conversations, there's Facebook competitions, there's the chat room scenario, you can text in, you can phone in. There is endless opportunities for being really creative as a show, and it brings a lot more life to the show and a lot more interaction. It's not just about the 30 young people who are involved in that 3-month experience. It connects with other people who in the future we've witnessed so many people who are younger then going, wow, I really want to go and take part in that project.
First of all, there's a whole team, the team aspect of getting 30 young people together and to work together. So there's that aspect, there's the friendship, there's the relationship, there's the relationships that are built up over the course of the training. the away weekends and the actual broadcast itself. There's also this whole business of being able to play their music, being able to demonstrate the music that they like, being able to talk about the subjects that they want to talk about, trying maybe to influence parents or older people's thinking on what should be available for young people in the future. So it's a fantastic platform if used correctly.
Helped me develop my skills in terms of, I suppose, preparing me for going to university and preparing me for working with different young people in terms of different age groups, because I suppose the youth club I'd worked in was always sort of younger-ish sort of young people. The impact, I think, for anyone that's taken part in Xtreme, any young person, it's definitely been a confidence booster.
I found it a lot easier to talk to new people and stuff. I talk quite a lot, but whenever I first meet people, I'd be really quiet and sort of wouldn't know what to say. So even from just starting Xtreme, I've opened up a lot more to people. So it's been quite good that way.
Being with Xtreme, I have learned that you do need to be a team player and not everything can revolve around you. You have to learn to compromise and make other sacrifices for your group.
Well, it's only 2 days away from the first broadcast, and me and the girl I'm working with are doing the very first broadcast at the launch show, so I'm really nervous about how it goes because I want it to be well in case this is the last Xtreme. I don't want it to be the last Xtreme, so I want to make it good so that someone will they'll find money to keep it going for other people.
I always had media as a kind of hobby, and actually I've started my Masters in journalism, probably because of my experience in Xtreme and doing radio shows, and I would volunteer for Blast in Belfast and do a show once a week. So even though I'm not involved in Xtreme has given me things to get involved with in my personal life.
I've been involved in every broadcast since 1999, as a young person, as a volunteer, with the SALB as a part-time youth worker, and for many years as just another DJ on the show. More recently, we have been able to work with the SALB at delivering the training for new young people, and those sectarian issues and other issues are still very evident, and I think this project is something so unique and so engaging and has such an impact on young people that it's going to be such a shame to see if it was ever to fade. For me, it was always like my baby project, so to speak, that I just loved seeing it grow and wanted it to grow from strength to strength. If I wasn't involved in Xtreme from the very start, I really don't know would I be sitting here doing the job that I'm doing now. And I'm so genuinely thankful of that opportunity.
I think people get things out of Xtreme which you can't really get anywhere else. I went to student radio and did a lot of other things, and very rarely did I meet anybody that had any sort of radio experience, and I was really lucky going to university that I was able to go in there and have the experience of knowing how the desk works, knowing how to put together a show, and when I went to Manchester for uni I was able to fit straight into that my student radio station and build my way up. I eventually became station manager when I was over there, so I kind of felt I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't got the experience to do stuff. To give you a foundation to work from, well, I think doing that and then moving on to student radio and then being able to go straight into a place where you get your chance to work at the BBC, and I wouldn't have got that if I wasn't able to go do Xtreme. For me, I felt Xtreme gives you confidence, the ability to sort of put stuff together. I met a load of people who I'm friends with now, and that really helped me, even when it comes to school or just other things. The ability to sort of go and do stuff, I think gives you this confidence moving forward that I don't think you really get from anything else. I almost sort of felt when I did those Xtreme shows like they were the most honest things that I ever did, because I just wanted to go out and talk about things, and this was the music I liked. I wouldn't say it was the greatest bit in the world, but I could hear myself improve and sort of go, oh, this is where I want to be. And just the fact that somebody trusted you enough to go, here's 2 hours, play a bit of music, here's a few guidelines, here's the desk, and then it's sort of up to yourself. You don't get that opportunity or that sort of faith in you. It's nice that someone gives you a faith, and then there's peer educators and all the rest telling you, yeah, that was great, well done. You saw people who were really shy at the start and not quite sure with people, and then everybody be on everybody else's shows chatting about stuff. I remember I used to spend my weekends, it was like the weekend for a certain time was Xtreme on, I would go to the resource centre and everybody would be there like a real buzz, and everybody sit in, listen to each other's shows and contribute to it. I felt that it gave me a jump start start, and I'm so lucky to be doing anything what I'm doing in my career right now. But I don't think I would have had that without that training ground of Xtreme, and I kind of think that it could have all not have happened if it wasn't for that trip to the resource centre to do Xtreme FM.
I think Xtreme has like changed me in a good way. Like, to me, I think I've gotten more mature since last year. The biggest thing I've learned, probably to accept everybody.
Xtreme has meant so much to me over the past 3 years. It's my 3rd year involved in the project, and it just means so much to me. Like, it's the first project that I done, and it led on to so many other projects for like youth council and stuff like that. If you were a funder and I had to tell you one reason why to invest in Xtreme, it would just be like so many people have came through Xtreme and went on to start their own like businesses through Xtreme, and even people who don't start their own businesses, they say it's one of the greatest projects they've done.
Xtreme showed me, as a project, it showed me how to speak to other people with the team building exercises and residentials. It showed me how I can go out and I can do whatever I wanted in life.
I think that Xtreme FM has changed me confidence-wise. Like, I'm a lot more confident with talking to people and making new friends. It should be kept going because it's a really good experience for people. Like, you get qualifications out of it, and it's good for not even just qualifications, it's good for building people's confidence and stuff because they get to meet so many new people from it, and I just think it's really good.
I think it's changed me a lot because before I even had trouble like talking to people whenever I first met them, and now it's no problem. I'd probably creep them out because I'm that open. The biggest thing I've learned is to actually not worry so much about what people think about you, because you are your own person and you get to put that out there, how people see you.
For me, the key to the success of Xtreme FM is the involvement, the active involvement and participation of young people. It's those guys that have brought the project to where it is today, tapping into the potential of young people who often come along with a serious lack of confidence, who maybe don't feel very good about talking in public or sharing their own thoughts on things. By the time they leave Xtreme FM, they're full of opinions, they're full of ideas, and they have a real engagement and connection with their community, and in particular obviously then, you know, the Brownlow Area Youth Project that is there now. So it's those young people that keep feeding back into that cycle. And I mean, Xtreme FM now, I can only imagine, must have worked with in excess of 500 young people and given them that high quality experience of, yes, broadcast, but also the confidence, the ability to communicate, and then the links across what would be perceived as maybe the traditional divide in the area, but also just other barriers being challenged as well.
I loved the time that I was involved with Xtreme, from the moment it started until the moment that I sort of ducked out because of other commitments. But I think Xtreme has gone on to better things since I've moved on.
Because I was there right from the start, from it was just this very small idea, just to see it grow. I think it's probably one of the proudest things that I am involved in, or have been involved in. And I suppose because we had the anniversary a few years ago and I was back with Mark Callender doing our show and reviving that, it reminded me of the energy that comes with Xtreme. There is an energy for anybody that's ever been involved in it. For the group that's ready to broadcast and during the broadcast time, there is such that high energy, and I think that's what motivates people, what gives them a confidence, the self-esteem, that boost, you know. So, and for me, I definitely got that out of it too.
I'm just so thankful for the SALB for creating this project so long ago, and for the funders, for Neighbourhood Renewal, and everyone who's helped along the way to keep this project going. I think it has helped hundreds and hundreds of young people, and I know that there's so many young people to come that could really benefit from a project like this, and I just really hope that that opportunity is still open for those young people to come.
Xtreme FM for young people is a perfect example of a project that draws them in using methodologies that are innovative and creative and that attracts the young people, and before too long, you know, those young people, whilst they may have got involved in doing some radio broadcast or because they have an interest in music and sharing their thoughts on music, before too long they're dealing with big issues and developing their capacity to really give informed insights into those issues and address some of the big problems that we face in Northern Ireland.
The amount of young people who've come through Xtreme, it's now a brand. You say Xtreme, everybody knows what it is. And it's one of those things where young people, you know, actually come back and they say it was the best thing I ever done. And, you know, and as a coordinator, as a youth worker, it's the best thing I ever done.